What's up? What's up? I actually froze there for a second. Welcome. We've got Drake Abshire with us today. And yay, I should have had my
Up,
applause
Drake.
sound prepped for you. But Drake, if you haven't heard of him before, which if you're in the Louisiana area, you probably have, he's somewhat of a local celebrity. He is an Epique agent. He is one of the team he's a team leader, an area leader. No, not an area leader.
No,
Sorry.
I was, but I relinquished that title. I was too busy.
Okay, my bad. Not an area leader. Team leader. He is an influencer. He runs a magazine. He's a power agent, so he's one of our top agents. He's also a coach with Club Wealth. I mean, the list goes on and on. I don't know how the guy does it. He's a machine. He's also super awesome, super fun, and we just love Drake. You're always coming from a giving attitude, and we appreciate you. So thank you for coming on with us, Drake, today.
Thank you, Drake.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited.
We're excited to have you. So today we are talking about Epique Power Agent and what that means. So let's just start with the basic question. What is a power agent?
Yeah, of course. So a power agent is an agent that's going to hit 10 million in sales volume, or they're going to get 24 transactions per year. And so with that, you get a couple of added benefits. So with that, you're going to either get that top 20% on your first line agents, right? So at Epique Realty, we're allowed to attract agents over. And so with that attraction portion, anyone that I would directly recruit, which would be my front line people, those I would actually get 20%. So that's double revenue share as a power agent. And then also your tech fee goes down to $99 per month, which is also another added benefit. And then of course you're recognized within the company also as being a power agent, which is really fun.
And then isn't there stock rewards with the power agent too?
Yes, you do get stock awards. Once you do qualify, they give you $15,000 in value stock back. And I also heard that coming this year, we are supposed to be doubling that, where you'll get 30,000 instead. I don't know if it's been released just yet, but that has been announced that it is coming if it's not already in play.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. A lot of incentives to make yourself more money to then get yourself more benefits to eventually put more money back into your pocket.
Absolutely.
So which would you say is harder to hit in your opinion, either the 10 million or the 24 transactions?
That's hard to say because it's different for every single market. In my market, to get to 10 million, you're likely going to be pretty far past the 24 transactions, because we average sales price around 250,000. So it's easier for me actually to hit the 24 transactions to hit power agent than to actually do it the other way around with the 10 million. Because luxury, you really don't even hit till you get, to up to a million. And so those are really kind of fewer and far between sales in my area. But obviously, if you're someone that's in an area that's more affluent and home prices are more expensive, then that 10 million volume might actually be more doable for people.
So you would say that this is a pretty fair benchmark to have the two options and just not make it set on a volume, but to have either the transactions or the volume.
Correct. I do think it's very fair, because in some markets, people do have higher price points, and so they don't have to sell quite as many homes to make a lot of money in real estate. I actually envy some of those markets, because I'm over here busting my butt for a lot of transactions to be able to make the same thing that they're making, just because their commissions are much higher. But it also does mean that their competition is a lot more stiff, right? Mm-hmm. Where in my area, it's been relatively easy to dominate, just because I'm a hard worker. I work on my marketing and I'm doing my craft and getting better at it every single day. So it's really easy to outshine the competition as long as you're really putting your foot to the pedal and pushing.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm in a higher priced market, but it's very, very competitive. And we have a ton of agents in my area. So it is very competitive. So what would you say are some daily habits that you have that make you produce to become a power agent? What does your day look like?
So every single morning has to consist of your prospecting. That's a huge thing that I'm always coaching my agents on is morning time is your time to actually go hunting, right? You have to go and find more clients, and it's calling all the new leads that come into your database, however that is, if you're doing buyers, if you're doing sellers, or if you're doing FSBOs, expireds, you have to call those people every single morning and build that pipeline. And then there's a portion of your prospecting every morning that has to consist of also follow up with your database, your sphere of influence, those past clients, those people that you spoke with over the past week. And I was just emphasizing this to my agents this morning. We were doing some role play together with a lead, and he allowed the lead to book an appointment at 10 a.m. And I stopped him after the call and I said, why is it a huge problem for you to book an appointment with a lead at 10 a.m.? And he's like, it's working hours. I'm like, of course it's working hours, because that's money generating, right? To set an appointment. There's nothing wrong with setting an appointment. But the problem is, if I allow buyers and sellers to dictate my schedule, then I am no longer running my business as a business, right? When you call the doctor, you don't say, hey, I'm only available at 10 a.m., right? You have to take what's available, right? What they have. It's the same thing as a professional. They have to know when you're available and fit within that schedule as well. We want to get there as soon as possible, but the reason your business is going to do like this all the time is because you're not putting the foot to the pedal and staying consistent with your prospecting every morning and doing all of your appointments in the afternoon.
So I always kind of said it's one of those things when I was high production was own my day before noon. So anything that was business related, prospect related, I had to have that done before noon, because if you didn't, your day gets swept away with appointments or home inspections or just, the follow-up calls or whatever you have to do. So I think that that's very, very important, and a great, great point.
Couple questions. Before I forget to ask this, isn't there also a cap incentive, a benefit when you have a reduced cap when you're a power agent?
Not that I'm aware of. I think the cap for any agent when you start is $15,000, and every single year it goes down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you're on a team. If you're on a team.
Yeah, then your team structure is
production.
Yeah. So,
it could be.
Yeah, the agents on my team, obviously, they get the $10,000 benefit of a traditional team model.
Now, if you are a power agent, that doesn't mean that you have a power team.
No, a power team is what I'm actually currently working on. That's the goal that all the team collectively have our eyes set on this year. We're very close to it. I really only need maybe 1 or 2 more team members this year, and I think we're going to absolutely crush it to be the first power team in Louisiana. And you can mark my words, that is going to be us in 2026.
We have no doubt, Drake. We can't wait to watch that unfold.
Because I am on a power team, and my cap is $5,000, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And then it's a half a transaction fee, I believe, as well, right? $250 per transaction.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And then with the morning prospecting, so how many hours every morning do you recommend you time block for that?
There should be a minimum of, I think, an hour, right? If they're going to allow other things to get in the way, or their threshold is really low with prospecting, a minimum of an hour has to take place. But my goal for my agents is for them to do a 90-minute session. They can take a break, right, to kind of recoup, go have something to drink, check your social media, do whatever you do, and then have another 90-minute call session. So it should be a total of 3 hours that you would want to accomplish each morning. The reason why we do 90 minutes is studies show that people can have really focused attention for 90 minutes, and then they start to burn out. It starts to become very distracted work. But if you can do it for actually, blocking out the world, right? Getting your phone away, using your laptop just to make calls, or having a work phone that doesn't have social media or your email or anything else there. If you have truly focused attention for those 90 minutes, you're going to feel that burnout toward the end of it. You're going to want to take a break, recoup a little bit, then come back and do another 90 minutes. And so that gets you that total of 3 hours each day. If you can accomplish that, you can easily, there's no reason you should not have a 6-figure year as a real estate agent doing that type of work.
Multiple 6 figures at that point. Yeah.
If someone wants to be a power agent, what would you say? Like, let's say for your team, your people on your team, like going from, right now the standard is actually 0 transactions. 70% of agents are made zero transactions. They sold zero in 2024. 2025 is probably worse. So like, but let's take like the other 30% who are doing transactions. You know, maybe they're doing 5 a year, maybe 8, you know, somewhere around there, which is kind of the standard, you know, of the piece of the pie that actually is doing any production at all. How do you go from that to 24? How do you go from, you know, 3 million to 10? Like, what would you say is like, okay, like, let me see what you're doing now, and this is the one thing I would change. I know you said the morning, but like maybe even dive deeper into like, okay, this is the lead gen that you focus on, or what would you really change?
It really just depends because I think everybody is different, but I do think there is one tried and true system that just kind of works across the board as long as you work on your scripting and the way that you approach them. But I always tell agents, show me your bank account and I'll show you an agent who makes their calls. It's as simple as that. It's not rocket science. I think everybody makes it more complicated than it needs to be. You have to make your calls every day. And those calls need to be to the low-hanging fruit of real estate. So in my mind, that is expireds, for sale by owners, pre-foreclosures, probates, right? Any of those types of leads are all going to be your low-hanging fruit of people that are typically in some sort of position and needing to sell. And so if you learn the type of approach that works with these types of leads and you come from a place of guidance, you can absolutely find a ton of success in business to build your pipeline. And I think a lot of people get hung up on what to say. The truth is, the more that you do this, the better you get. Right? You can improve over time if you study the craft. Now, just making the calls, you're not going to learn naturally, right? You have to watch videos, get some scripts, get a little bit of training, maybe work with a coach, and you'll get better and better, or a mentor that is really good at it, like myself. I can help you. But the goal is to work on that craft. You have to role play. One thing that I implemented with my team recently, and I can tell you from the beginning, they were all horrible, right? I was horrible in day one when I started, but we role play every single morning before we get to work. So we get on a call at 8 a.m. and we talk about what happened yesterday, what's going to happen on our schedule today. And then immediately we go into role play where we all take one chance, go one by one across the room, and everybody does whatever lead that they're working on. They may say, I'm working with a buyer, I'm going to do a FSBO, I'm doing a follow-up appointment with an expired, whatever they want to work on. It's absolutely what they want to attack. But the goal is you can never get better if you do not practice, because otherwise you're practicing on the leads and you're actually wasting the leads each and every time if they're hanging up on you or blocking your number or whatever. So the goal is to practice that craft, get really good, and then you're going to see the fruits of your labor with time.
I think that that's really great advice. So when you're saying, so you would say that consistency is better in outwork systems then, because the systems don't matter if you're not consistent.
Well, it's both. You need both. Of course, as you're consistent, you're going to need systems because you're going to have so many people to follow up with. And it's going to take them time to actually, be able to, because one of the agents on my team, he's killing it with making his phone calls. Brand new agent, already got a home closed, got multiple ones about to list and get under contract, buyers that signed agreements and showing properties. So he's killing it just since December. But his problem right now, he's saying, is he's dialing it back on the dials because he feels so overwhelmed with everybody he's trying to follow up with and stay in touch in the paperwork. And that's typical for a brand new agent, right? They don't know how to juggle a lot of leads and, a lot of things all at the same time. And that's okay. I said, this is a good problem to have, right? You're going to get used to being able to juggle a lot of things. The thing is, we're going to keep putting things in place that allow you to take things off your plate, such as a transaction coordinator helping with the paperwork, right? Us going with you on appointments so you feel like you feel supported, right? And they're not going to ask you a question that's going to get you hung up. So it's all about a collaboration. And I really think it's really important to be collaborative in real estate because it really helps you to get better and also holds you accountable.
Yeah, it absolutely does hold you accountable. So now applying all this back to Power Agent, do you think if anybody puts these systems and consistency and your prospecting in place, they could have an opportunity to become a Power Agent?
Absolutely. Power Agent is in reach for anybody. The one thing I love to tell people as well, there's a lot of things I love to tell people, obviously, but is I'm not special. Holly's not special. Alana's not special. It is
These are
literally,
lies. We are all very special.
you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I
Unique. We're all unique. There's nothing special about a top producer. There's nothing special about a billionaire. They literally are just the type of people that show up consistently and work hard. That's all it really comes down to. The difference between you and a top producer is that a top producer is going to do the things they don't want to do on them in the times that they don't want to do it. They're going to do it anyway.
Absolutely. So how do you work with agents, or what advice would you give agents to help them get over the rejection fatigue, right? Because when you get rejected so many times over and over and over again, it's fatiguing. So what do you say to your agents, or what would you say to agents listening to help with that rejection fatigue?
Well, it's first of all realizing you can't take it personal, right? Rejection is part of this business. And this may sound really harsh, but you're in the wrong job, because it is all about rejection. So if you're not going to face the fact that you're going to get rejected all the time and not learn how to not take it personally, then you're truly just going to struggle in this business, because you chose this career, which involves sales. Sales involves rejection. So there's no way to really get better at rejection other than just going and get rejected more and more to where it just doesn't bother you anymore, right? The mindset that I've always put myself into is just on to the next, because there's that person that will cuss you out and say horrible, horrible things to you. But if you just say to yourself, well, on to the next, right? Because it's not really a big deal at the end of the day. They don't matter to me. They were never going to buy or sell with me. They are not my person, right? So I'm moving on and just looking for that next person that is aligned with me and that is going to vibe with me and ready, to do some work.
Yeah. So back with the Power Award thing. So I'm just trying to think. So how do you, when you're talking to other high level, like agents in other brokerages who are on your level of production? By the way, how many homes did you sell last year?
48.
Okay. So when you talk to other agents at that level, how do you show them Power Agent as being like a money-making machine for them? Or like, how is that, a carrot that you maybe use to help them, to tell them like, hey, Epique, like you need to be like with your production that you're doing at whatever brokerage, ABC brokerage, it doesn't have a Power Award type of deal. What do you say to them is there anything that you've shared with them that got them kind of excited? Like, wow, like you're right. I mean, I'm leaving money on the table here.
Despite what some people say, I think you can be successful at whatever brokerage that you're at, as long as you have the systems and the discipline and the consistency with your business. Like, let's just put that on the table. Like, right, a brokerage is only going to bring you added benefits to your business. I can be successful no matter where I brought my business to. It's just I've chosen to align myself with a company that rewards me even further for that production, right? That incentivizes me to get to a higher production by giving me these added bonuses. So I would say if you are incentive-based type worker where getting those accolades is really what helps fuel you right within your business, then yes, you're going to align with this sort of company and you're really going to thrive in that type of environment. But if you're not one of those people that those things don't really mean a lot to you, then you may move over to Epique and still love all the benefits, or any company that does this, you still may love all the benefits that they give you. But at the same time, it may not be that driving force for you to reach, that status or that amount of sales. So what we would have to do is dial it back a little bit and ask ourselves, well, what is your driving force? If it's not money, then what is your true why that gets you up in the morning and that says that I want to get, so many? Like, why do you want that many sales? Like, we have to go, I always say 5 to 6 levels deep of your why. The first why is never enough, right? Because it's always something very surface level. Okay, so why are we arriving to that first thing? You like money? Okay, why? Why do you like money? What does that mean to you, right? We go 5, 6 levels deep on that why. Then we get to the real core of what gets you to tick. And that's what's going to help us to drive forward in our business.
Yeah.
Now, do you think this type of production tier, do you think that inside the company that creates a healthy motivation or an unhealthy comparison with agents inside the company?
I think it's inspiring, right, to see other agents that are hitting these accolades, and it really helps other people to know who they could look to maybe for advice or motivation when they're needing certain things, right? It's not that agents that don't reach this are not worthy of anything or are not, powerhouses in what that they do. We don't know what other people do. For the same time, like me saying I do 48 transactions, somebody may look at that and go, oh, I can double that. Like, yeah, great, but also go and run a publication, do content creation, do all of the other things, real estate coaching, and the other things that I do along with those 48 transactions, then come back to me, right? It's me balancing all of those things along with the other things that I do, right? So I'm more of a marketing machine and an entrepreneur because I have so many businesses and different things that I do. Real estate, if that was my one simple thing that I did every single day, then yeah, you should expect, a lot more production out of that and scaling over year. But now I'm on the opposite side where I'm trying to pull back on my production and give more to my team because the goal is to grow them, develop them, right? Help them continue to grow the brand that they want to stand behind, grow their businesses and find success. So I'm moving more into that mentorship role. But I think at the same time, everybody's got to find where they fit, right? Because not everybody wants to be a team leader. Not everybody sees themselves in a leadership role. Not everybody wants to be a team player. Some people are lone wolves and they like working alone. They just want to keep their head to the ground and do their own business. Just like some people like agent attraction. Some agents love the idea of building a downline and having, a great organization. Other agents may not talk about it at all. And they just want to do, real estate sales and get all the benefits of that. So I don't think there's any right or wrong way to run your business. It's the right way that's for you and that aligns with you.
I think that is fabulous advice for absolutely anybody listening. Holly, do you have any direct questions before we go into the rapid fire round?
Trying to think of what else I wanted to hit with the power agent specifically. I mean, I know we can't sit here and like compare power agent line item by line item to every other incentive kind of production program that EXP or Real or whoever else has. But have you kind of looked around a little to see like how power agent stacks up against some of the other, similar programs?
Yeah. So I was with EXP before, and I was there, and I was actually on the cusp of actually hitting Icon the year that I was there. And I did think that there was some tricky things about it in the fact of it wasn't just about your production, that they wanted you to do some other cultural things. And it felt like the standards were a little bit looser with how in the world do I accomplish this with these. I have to go and teach so many classes or whatever of these cultural awards that I had to reach. I don't know if they changed that at this point. It's been 2 years since I've been there. So don't shoot me if that's not the rules or how it works anymore. I'm sure they've changed it. But at the time, I felt like it was unclear of what my goal was other than me just like hitting my production as much as I can. And I fell short of what the technical goals were, I think, by like one thing that I didn't do right or accomplish within it. And so I didn't get the icon status. So that was kind of demoralizing and disappointing to me, knowing how much work that I put in, into my production and sales. So I did love about Epique that there seems to be much clearer and easier direction of what you're trying to hit. And that if you just, turn in your numbers, then you get that award and you get all those added benefits added to you for an agent. And I think that award is not something that's outside of reach for most agents. I think some companies, maybe they set it a bit too high, and sure, that makes it a bigger accomplishment for the ones that do get it. But I think it's also, again, like what I said, it was demoralizing, right? I ended up leaving the company and came to a company that I feel like is rewarding me for where I'm at, right? So, everybody finds their own place that makes the most sense for them. Do your own research, get all your questions answered, set your goals, and make sure you have a plan to get to those goals.
And one more question about the specifics with the stock awards, because I may be a little confused. So are they, let's say when they change it this year to officially be 30,000, is it 30? Are they literally just gifting you $30,000 worth of stock shares?
It's the value shares, added. So it's not necessarily $15,000, but our stock is at 53 cents, right? So it's the stock share value is what they're giving you up to that.
I mean, that's kind of crazy, right?
That's
And that
incredible.
sounds like pretty wild. I mean, to me, I still think of that as like they're giving me 30 grand or 15 grand, 30 grand, hopefully this year. That's what I think in my mind. I know they're not giving it to me in an actual like briefcase, but like they're giving me $30,000 worth of stock.
Which could turn into 60, could turn into 120, depending what that stock does with the years of the company, right? The excitement of the growth of what it could be. So to me, stock is worth so much more than just cash money.
So they're giving you back the 15 grand that you paid in, if that's your cap, plus another 15 grand in the form of stock.
Yep.
That's pretty thick.
Now, if you're on a team, can you get power agent being on a team, and what's your stock reward then?
Good question.
You're stumping me up on the stock award thing, because I think it's this. I want to say it's the same thing. I'm pretty sure agents are still allowed to hit power agent status, and I'm pretty sure they still get the stock awards even being on a team. I'm just not sure if there's any other caveats or differences to it, but my understanding is it's all the same.
And that is
you are right.
Different. Oh, sorry, you froze up on me. It might be my service.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think it goes down if you're on a team. If you're at a $10,000 cap, you can only get like 1,000. Or if you're at the $5,000 cap, you can only get like 500 shares. We should look into that. But I think if you're on a team, it's based on like where your cap is.
Oh, that would make sense. But I remember that was another rule at EXP, which maybe they've changed. But at the time, I remember if you were on a team, I don't believe you could be icon.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead with the rapid fire. That's all the questions I had about that.
Okay. Rapid fire round. Systems beat motivation. Agree or disagree?
Systems beat motivation. Agree.
Okay. Most agents don't need more leads. They need more follow-up. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
I always say the fortune's in the follow-up. And non-negotiable habits for power agents would be?
Follow-up. Calling, consistent calls every day.
Okay. See, you're calling. See, when I first got started, I was a door knocker. Picking up the phone for me was like, I still don't like to do it. But since then, my follow-up is so good with my database that's where all my business comes from. Like, I never pick up the phone and call. You do not speak my language, Drake.
No, I'm a texter. I hate calling. I will text all day long, but
Well, and here's my challenge for you, though. Imagine where your businesses would be, both of you guys, if you actually layered in some prospecting to actually cold calling or even warm prospecting to calling these leads. Because if that's what you're already flowing into your business from just a little bit that you're doing, imagine if you layered in that next piece. And that's exactly what I try to show the agents is you can either stay where you're at right now and stay at that consistent production. And you'll feel like almost every single year, I can't seem to break to that next level. I can't seem to break. And that's why, is because you haven't layered in something else that allows you to break into that next level. You are going to continue to see the same results and stay consistent, which is fine. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if your goal is to up your production, you can't keep doing the same thing. You have to bring in some other lead source or some sort of help, even if it was as hiring an ISA, right? Somebody who helps you call the people that you don't want to call, FSBOs and things, and get you appointments. Even that can take you to that next level, but it's going to cost you more money than you actually just going and make those calls yourself. So you have to decide what works and what means more to you.
I always got curious about the ISAs because it's like, okay, these people call and get you the appointment, and then you're just supposed to be like, oh, hey, I'm that agent that is doing the appointment with you now. Like, I always feel like, is there not a disconnect between booking the appointment and then actually meeting the people versus like setting the appointment yourself? But I don't know.
Yeah, it's a fine line. You have to find an ISA that's really good. But I mean, I will say at the end of the day, the best person to call and set the appointment is always going to be you. But the idea is if I'm leveraging my time, because think about this, if the ISA is making these calls, yes, let's say if I've made 50 calls, I get 10 appointments out of that. The ISA makes 50 calls, they get one. right? So
Right.
I'm more effective. But at the end of the day, if I'm allowed to go on another listing appointment or do something else, like be on this podcast right now to grow my brand, then my ISA is making calls and setting me appointments. So it's leveraging my time, right?
Right. No, that's a great point. Well, Drake, you are wonderful. I would love to have another call with you and learn more about your coaching and maybe some scripts that you use and the psychology that you use with your scripts, because I know it used to just be the Mike Ferry model, but now there's so many different scripts that I think are a little bit softer and just more personalized than those back in the day. So we appreciate you being here so much. It's been fabulous.
It's been an honor. Thank y'all.
Well, we look
Yes.
forward to seeing you in Houston at Shareholders. It's going to be a blast. And if you're curious about Epique, you should tune in because I think it'll be live. And if you're looking for coaching, reach out to Drake. He is amazing, and we love Drake.
Yes, thank you, Drake. Hope you come back again, and you have an awesome day. And thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yes, as always.
Thank y'all.
That's today's rant, friends.
If you loved it, share it.
And if you hated it, share it anyways. See you next week.